moves on. Back again with another video. I haven't done a video in like 6 months. But I am here with a special guest, ZK.
Hey,
I want you to introduce yourself because I know we met a couple years ago at a Bible study, but I want you to introduce yourself to people, what you do, who you are. I know you're getting your PhD right now, so
yeah. So my name is Aisha Bailey. I hail from Lexington, Kentucky, and of course I currently live in Charlotte. I'm a PhD student at UNC Charlotte in public health sciences, and so basically my research is going to mainly focus on Black females and body image, so I might throw in a little bit of BMI, physical fitness, but mainly Black females and body image. I love working out, and I like to eat. So that's
she's
about
a
it.
beast, yo. Like she's like a literal beast when it comes to working out. I remember we used to go to the same gym one time, yeah. And how do you spend 2 hours a day? Well, that's another question. I don't know how you spend 2 hours a day. Because I really don't know how you do that. But yeah, so we're talking about effective communication. It kind of carries over from a conversation we had, I want to say a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago.
On Instagram. I forget how it got started, but we somehow ventured.
It was probably, when I'm on Instagram, I be trolling, and sometimes I be speaking some facts. And I think it stemmed from something that I had posted on Instagram, and then you replied, and then it kind of went into a conversation about effective communication, about how dating is in Charlotte. So I think that was kind of like the foundation of, how we started off with the conversation.
So when it comes to effective communication, if you just want to put like a basic definition, what does effective communication mean to you? When you hear effective communication, what is that to ZK?
So to me, when I think about effective communication, lots of times people say it's being a good listener. But for me, I feel that you can listen to someone, all day when it comes to communicating. But when I hear effective communication, I think about understanding and comprehension. Because you can, like I said, you can talk to somebody all you want, but unless you understand and know where they're coming from and the principle behind it, then I feel like communication isn't going to be complete. Because like I said, I can be, let's relate it to my PhD. I can sit in class and I can listen to the professor talk all day. Again, I'm listening, but that doesn't mean anything if I don't understand what they're saying.
Right.
And so I feel like when it comes to communication, it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah. So when it comes to effective communication in the friendship tier, what does that look like? I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna go first too, because I know I'm still kind of crazy when it comes to people texting me back. So, what does that look like to you in the friendship tier?
Well, for me, I feel like when it comes to talking to my friends or whatever, reach out. I'm not saying you have to talk to me every day, but it's kind of like ping pong. You go back and forth with it. It really is not one-sided when it comes to communication with friends. And so I feel if you're the only one who's reaching out, the only one who is initiating the conversation, then that's not communication on the other person. You know what I mean? And so that's what I think about when it comes to friendship. Yeah.
Like with me, I think effective communication with friendship is like you said, not reaching out both sides, but I also think it has something to do with learning. I wouldn't say love languages per se. That's more so relationship, but kind of sort of.
When it comes to love language, the thing is, love language is not just with romantic relationships. Right. It's with any type of interaction you have with people, and so I think that's one thing, because it's funny you said that, because I was going to do a whole spiel on that on Instagram probably the next couple of weeks, because again, when people think about love languages, they only think about their romantic partner, when really it's with your friends too, and so I feel like when they hear love, you only think about, again, romantic relationships, when really you do love your friends, so I feel when it comes to communicating, and again, love language, it should be across
the board. And also too, giving and receiving, learning how somebody gives and receives, and learning how, but also too, with me, I've been guilty of this. I've been guilty of placing, and I was gonna talk about this, but placing women in this tier. I think I might have mentioned to you, but placing women in this tier of relationship with their just friends, because with me growing up, the phone was that point of contact that I made with women. You know what I'm saying? It was not that much intimacy outside of the telephone. So because of that, whenever somebody, they look good, unless they're ugly, unless they're ugly or something like that, when I come across them and we're talking and I like you, like talking to you, it's going to immediately trigger that emotion that we're more than friends, but we're not. We're just friends. And this year's been teaching me get out of that sphere where you're placing all these women in this frame of they're more than friends to you, but they're just friends. This is just a text message. So I also think it comes down to, you know, valuing the text message and things like that. So,
can I say something about that though?
Yeah.
So my thing is, I think that's something that a lot of people have to learn, because I remember there was a girl that I used to work.
You're like I'm gonna talk about her. I'm not. Yes,
I mean, you know, but for example purposes.
Okay.
But, you know, it's just that I had to tell her, and she didn't listen, but I tell her, just because a guy compliments you doesn't mean that he wants you. You know, and I feel that some guys are just genuinely nice, and maybe he does, but I'm kind of, I guess, oblivious to it. Unless a guy actually, like, explicitly tells me that he's interested in me, then I'm just automatically going to think that's a friend. Just because a guy, you know what I'm saying, wants to hang out because he compliments me, then for me, and of course it was a learning process, but I don't think she had learned that. But for me, unless he actually says it to me, you're going to be a homeboy, because some people are just genuinely nice. And every time a guy would hug her, she'll be like, oh my gosh, he wants me. And I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. You know, and
I feel like that. Yeah, that could. Yeah, some understanding communication and that too. Like not reading too much into things.
Yeah,
I think I'm guilty of that as well. Like it's just a text message. Like don't read too much into it or whatever. And unless they explicitly say, trying to get to that point. But also, I think there's some room for mystery. Like at least for me, I think there should be some room for mystery. Like okay, I shouldn't. And we can get into the dating portion too right here too.
Oh gosh.
Fine, we can talk about it. Whatever. So you said it has to be like he has to explicitly say whatever. Yeah. So you don't, in turn, you don't like, hey, or tilt your head this way, or do a little extra winking in the text message. You don't do none of that up front or whatever to let the guy know, because because that's what I'm currently. It's because I'm like crap, like, but it's somebody that I know that does that won't like explicitly come out of their mouth if they like you, but then I found out on the back end, like, okay, they would have been interested, and I'm like, how come you didn't say anything or give me some type of hint? I can't read body language.
Well,
like
if it is like, okay, you just gotta say it's a female that you know. So if it's a female that you know,
I'm friends with,
that you're friends with, then you should know them well enough to know whether or not they're flirting, or you might have to do some things to kind of like dip your little toe in and test the water to see which direction you're going. But if it's a female that you may have just met and you're trying to get to know her, then you might have to take another, think of another way to kind of,
ease in it.
Yeah, but as females, we use emojis all the time. I know I do. Listen, memes, emojis, like
that stuff is misleading too. That's what I said. I think social media, like, and backtrack. Okay, so
don't get me started on social media and dating.
So like with the DMs, do you like one of the questions I was gonna ask is, do you think like what is it? Where is it at? How do you feel about DM conversations? Like, is there a place for meeting people through the DMs?
I feel like there is a place, as long as it's done respectfully.
Okay.
Now, I can say I have never had anybody DM me in a disrespectful way. Now, with other people, yes, but for me, no. But because I think it's also because people see my story, they know I don't play all that. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably why people come to me correct with a K. But there is space for it, because of course a lot of people have found love, through the DM. I ain't found it, you know what I'm saying? But But I feel like there's a place, with the way that times are changing and the ways that you, again, communicate with people. And sometimes on social media, that's kind of the only way to find someone or to get to know somebody, But, I mean, I guess. Yeah,
like with me, I know, like in college, that's all you do in college. When I was in college, that's all I did.
See, I'm about to tell my age now, because...
What, 25, 26? Cheers.
Listen, when I was in college, look, y'all,
She's 25.
Sure, yeah.
She's 25.
What are the young in my day? Nah, we still had landlines on campus. So they're like, I'm gonna leave you, look, I see you now in the caf, but I'm gonna leave you a message, so call me when you get back to your dorm room. That's how old I am.
Man, alright. No, but I'm just saying that's a different form of communication. But like what I was used to was like, you meet somebody on Twitter. Like Twitter was like when Twitter was just coming out, you'll find somebody on Twitter, you rarely even know them. They might get retweeted, you slide in DMs and you have fruitful conversations. And I'm still friends with some of these girls on Facebook today, but it's just like, I don't see that there's anything wrong with DMs, because it's just like a lot of people work 40 hours a week. People are busy. People have schedules. So I think there's some room for DMs, even some room for like Bumble. Like I was just talking to homegirl about Bumble and Tinder and all these other things. Bumble and Tinder and all these other spots. I think there's a space for them, but I don't think that should be the main mode. I still think, but I also think it helps guys that are shy. Is not even a word, but shy. Helps guys.
No, I feel like that is the right word.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's like going back to the schedule. I told my friend the other day, I was just like, it's for me, I'm lazy. Like I complain about being single, but it's like, girl, you're lazy because I just don't want to put myself out there to meet someone. So for me, it's just like, okay, sis, if you want to meet somebody, the only way you probably will meet them is via DM or something like that. Because you don't do nothing but go to campus, go to the gym. And I have a really big thing about dating someone that goes to the same gym as me. Because for me, the gym, that's my safe space, And like, if I were to actually go somewhere and meet someone and we coincidentally go to the same gym, but I've never seen him before, that's a difference. But as far as me being in the gym and seeing somebody come up to me try to holler,
how and side note, but like I always wondered how that goes, like with the women in the gym, and like is that receptive or is that not receptive at all?
It all depends on the female, because for example, you have some females where their sole purpose is to go to the gym just to try to get a boob. Okay, then you got people like me who actually in there to get their workout on. And so my thing is that most times, like I remember one time I was out and somebody came up to me and they followed me on Instagram. I didn't even know they followed me on Instagram. Well, this isn't even one time. It happens more often than not. But I'll be out and people will say my entire Instagram name. I'll be like,
is this my school?
Yeah, no, like legit. And they'll be like, oh, it's so nice to see you outside of the gym. I'm thinking to myself, last time someone did this to me, I told the dude, I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen you in the gym because I'm so focused, but I don't know. For me, I'm just too focused. I don't be paying no attention. Television.
All right. So when it comes to communication, how do you think how people were raised and brought up has to do with how they communicate? Because I was kind of dwelling on that thought and just thinking about it, just like, man, okay, what if somebody struggled with abandonment? What if somebody struggled with this is another thing too. What if somebody struggled with not being able to share their opinions growing up in the house? Their parents, they're when it comes to the type of people that they say what they gotta say and they stop and they don't really know how to elaborate very well. Maybe they grew up in a household where they said their piece and they didn't really have a place to speak. So how do you think how people were raised kind of affects the communication?
I think it does spill over into adulthood because when you have people who are codependent, you have people who are the individuals that always need affirmation from someone. Those are the individuals that I feel whom they did not have the space to express their emotions, their opinions growing up because, growing up they may feel a certain way, but they're not able to express it. So growing up, they're like, okay, if I do express myself this way, then how about I get some affirmation? But then you have people who are very outspoken. Those probably were individuals who lived in a home where they were able to express their opinion. So I do feel as if how a person communicated in childhood does spill over into adulthood. But then also, the way, like for example, the individual that was not able to express themselves openly growing up, what can help them is by going to therapy to talk about that, and then they'll be able to be more expressive, But I do think what I've seen more often than not, those who are very codependent and who have like love trauma or they're love dependent, those are definitely the individuals that always need an affirmation from someone to approve their emotions. So I've seen that a lot.
What do you mean by love trauma?
So love trauma could be to me, I feel it can be defined one or two ways. It can be either someone who is love dependent, so they did not receive love growing up, so they're actively seeking out relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic, to get accepted, or you have someone who is like super guarded and they don't want the love, and so that's how I feel like I would define those two.
Okay. When it comes to texting and calling, what type of person are you?
I am a caller. Like, call me.
But why?
I just feel like you...
Is it because of the era? Like you say, you grew up on the landlines in the college dorm. Is it the era or is it...
I think it's more so because things can be so misconstrued through text message.
But that's why you have to be elaborate.
Here's the thing. Some people, I've came across people before where they don't like talking on the phone, but they like texting, but you be giving me 1 or 2 word responses. So it's just, so just think about it. If I'm just like, if someone's like, oh, you need to elaborate through text, well then don't give me 2 word responses then. Like, what? Like, cause I'm the type of person, how they had, something on Instagram was a picture, and it had a person with a long text message. It was text person A, and then one with like 5 different messages, but they both said the same thing, and they were like, "Which one are you?" I'm actually both. But then you also have some people who just
Yeah, it depends.
Don't.
Like I'm out. Like one thing, because I like I told you, I struggle with it when it comes to people not texting me back sometimes. So one thing, or not being as elaborate, and one thing my homegirl told me, she was like, not everybody elaborates like you. And that blessed me because I'm like, I didn't think about everybody's not set. I want all in this selfishness in me, I guess, or just spoiledness, or I guess whatever that in me that wants everybody to text like I text.
No, same. Because I'll be like, what? Like, can I get some more detail? And then the thing is, what happens is if you mess around and don't give me details, then guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be asking all the questions. So don't get mad because I'm asking questions because you didn't give me the details now. But no, I'm definitely a talker because, ouch, sorry. Oh, edit that part out. Actually, keep the blooper in. You know I'll be loving the bloopers, okay?
Oh my God. All right, what did you say? Keeping all that in.
Is my foot ashy now? Y'all know dark skin people get ashy easily. Anyway. But anyway, yeah, so I'm just like, I forgot what I was saying. I was talking about text messaging.
Yeah, you're talking about text messaging. But like with me, like being elaborative, like I think it's kind of like a selfish, not kind of selfish, just kind of pride or whatever, wanting people to text me back and like trying to get out of that. But I'm more so, I'm both. I could be on FaceTime with you. It all depends on the person. It all depends on the other person. If the other person vibes well. If the other person doesn't vibe well with you, then it's just not going to work.
Yeah, like my homegirl today, like me and her were on the phone for 3 hours today. Here's the thing, I couldn't even tell you what we talked about. We don't ever talk about nothing, but then some people I'm just like
feels like a chore. Like some stuff when you're communicating with certain people, it feels like it's a chore. Like I'm trying to pull it out of you, and I'm like, none of my conversations, especially with people that I'm trying to get with. Like if I'm trying to get with, I shouldn't have to pull something out of you. Like I had one girl, I was texting, and I texted her, it was like she had said something, and I'm like, because I'm the communicator, I'm like, bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, here's
so you're one of the few dudes who actually answers every question in a text message. See, you were rarity, because dudes, you'll send a whole dissertation, and they'll be like, oh, okay. No, and no.
But see, the thing that I don't like is when y'all send the long joint, I'm typing. You can see I'm typing. You're still sending.
But hold on, but you know some people got the Android. Go ahead. Because you don't type it on the Android.
I gotta be delivered from that this year.
Delivered? With a T in the new decade, okay?
The D and the T. But yeah, like I had, and I sent her like 5 different questions. She was like, "Ooh, that's a lot of questions. All right, give me a second." Like, and I'm like, I'm used to seeing that from videos. I'm just like, I'm being the communicator. I like talking.
Same thing.
Yeah. What played a role in you being or / becoming an effective communicator? Was it always been like this, or was there just like some turning point where you're just like, I value communication so much. This is, like, or just it's natural?
Wow, that's a good question. I've never really thought about that.
I come with good questions.
I've always been a talker.
Okay.
Maybe
extroverted. I seem like extrovert.
Well, I would consider myself to be an ambivert.
Ambivert.
Ambivert have qualities of both.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm an extroverted introvert because I live by myself and I love my alone time, but I basically feed off the energy of other people. So that's basically me because like I love being at home by myself. Like I will legit sit in the house with no music on and be fine with that. But anyway, answer your question. Sorry. Sidebar. Yeah, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I think as I've gotten older, I just feel that I want to just make it clear. I want no confusion. I want to get straight to the point. But again, like you were talking about with the selfishness, I have to realize everyone doesn't communicate like me. And sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, can you just answer my question, please? And then it sucks when you don't get the response that you wanted.
Or a response to that specific question. I don't you got to ask again. I don't like double texting or repeating myself. I don't like, I'm very, I guess passive is the word. Passive, I don't like repeating myself. And like, I'll just like, F it. Like, I won't say anything else. Like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm assertive, but
you lying. You're like, I remember somebody
at times I can be aggressive because, I don't know, because my tolerance is like here. And so sometimes I'm just like, all right, look, because I already got somebody in my mind about to cut up tomorrow anyway, because I just don't have time. Like, the older you get, trust me, you're tolerant. Your tolerance is probably like here right now, but as you get older, it's just like...
Ask some of the girls I know. For friends, it's bad, it's so bad. I'm trying to change in that area. I'm trying to change, but it's just why not texting back? Why not? And I'm not one of those guys were you on Instagram at 8:56? How come you didn't text me back at 8:57? I'm not one of those. But I don't know. I guess reciprocating energy. That's one thing.
Oh my gosh.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about, reciprocating energy. And I think that's hard to find within the dating scene, within friend scenes, is reciprocating energy. Because I had a thought, and I was thinking about this. I didn't put it on Facebook, but I was thinking about the fact that people deal with stuff differently, worry, stress, anxiety differently, and they wear their emotions on their sleeves. And because they do that, it now comes out and affects you. They may not be as polite as they should in terms of, okay, well, I'm dealing with this right now. Let me not let it come out on how I'm talking to another person. And I feel like I should. I feel like people do that to me sometimes. So.
I think for me, it's hard for me to not internalize when people say things, because again, I'm looking into it too much. So somebody may say something, and because if I'm not in a good mental space and somebody says something, I instantly what did you mean? I automatically get, you know what I'm saying? So that means I'm internalizing what they say when what they said wasn't even that deep, you know? But again, I think that just bringing it full circle, that comes to communication, because I feel whether it's male or female, romantic or platonic relationship or interaction, if it is something that offends me, then I should communicate to that person, hey, what you said hurt my feelings, And actually that happened back in October. I had, one of my female friends, she had said something to me and I was offended. And so the thing is, for me, instead of instantly letting her know that it offended me, I kind of drew back, I took a day to think about it, to evaluate. Yeah, then I went to her and I was just just let it out flat. I wasn't rude, but I was like, hey, I just want to let you know something you said the other day offended me. She asked me what it was. I wasn't a bee about it or anything. I just basically let her know how it hurt my feelings, let her know where I was coming from. Whether or not she received that would not have been my fault.
Yeah.
But for the simple fact that I brought it to her attention and I communicated with her that it hurt my feelings, then okay, moving forward, then she would know that I communicated to her whether or not that hurt my feelings, or whether or not she would be cognizant by the choice of words that she used, And so it did work out well. She didn't even realize that she had said that. And so it's been good. But I feel like that probably is a good example of how I was able to effectively, communicate to someone that they said something that was kind of like a sore spot for me.
Yeah. Have you ran into trouble trying to, I don't want to say necessarily communicate, but ran into trouble trying to let somebody know, one of your friends that, not you said offended, but let's say, communication-wise, has that ever happened, or it's just hey friend, this is how I'm built, you did this. Has that ever happened? That recently happened with me a couple months ago. I saw myself having that conversation. I'm like, man, I'm really becoming like an adult. Because adults, I'm 26. I don't even know. I'm 26. I'm not, I ain't that young. But I ain't that young. But I've never really been in those situations where you're like, okay, I'm being an adult about this. Let me tell you, hey, you didn't necessarily hurt my feelings, but hey, let's iron out how we communicate. Let's let you know how I feel about this, so we know moving forward. Okay, Drew doesn't play when it comes to this, or Drew doesn't tolerate.
I feel it depends on the nature of the relationship and whether you feel like it's even worth saying. And the reason why I say that is because in October there was a friendship I had with a female. And there were many times where she would just say things that are way left, and I would have to just take a deep breath, because if it was 10 years ago, I would have popped off. But when she would say things, I'd be like, okay, and I really wouldn't say anything, but there was one point where I was just like, I can't do it, and so it was okay, should I have a talk with her? Like you said, to be like, hey, maybe this is how we should talk with each other, or maybe I get what you're saying, but you need to say it in a different way, because I know you all have heard before, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
But I just felt that I was tired and it wasn't even worth trying to save the friendship, so I just let it go. So I think that's another thing too, to think about, okay, if I want to express to this person, how I feel or how I want them to communicate with me, or whether or not they offended me, so on and so forth, it's do you feel the relationship is worth it?
Okay.
That's kind of the point that I was at with her, so.
We're going to get to the bottom half, talking about ghosting soon, but could you, if you can think of any, what are some steps that you think it takes to get to a place of being unbothered when opportunities for relationships fall through? or for relationships, friendships? What are some steps
to becoming unbothered?
Yeah, to becoming unbothered. I was thinking about the first one. I was thinking about was identity of self, like knowing who you are in Christ, knowing who you are, and what you bring to the table when it comes to a relationship or a friendship. Like, okay, I want to talk to this person, but they're not reciprocating, and because, like I was telling you, the intimacy never really came outside of the phone. It only came through the phone, and I'm trying to get to know you, and you're not really reciprocating. It makes me look at myself like, am I ugly? Am I, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I not have it going on? Like, what do you feel like, besides identity could be the first one, but do you think there are any other things that you add to some steps of becoming unbothered, or is there never really a place of becoming unbothered?
I feel like there is a place of becoming unbothered, but I feel like it's an ongoing process.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is one day you might be unbothered and be like, you know what, I know what I bring to the table. I got this, and this going on for me. I may not be perfect, but X, Y, and Z, and be okay. But then you may have a bad day, and then next thing you know, all of that just comes down, and you're just like, oh my God, well, So I think it's, like I said, it's like every day just having to, it's an everyday thing, honestly. Because I'm not there, okay?
Yeah.
And I think, going, and for me, I would think instead of saying unbothered about being single, I think it would be more so, you could basically say it's more so being content with being single. And again, that's something that I am working towards. So for me, I remember this time last year, I was content. Like, I couldn't be bothered. I was just like, I wasn't even thinking about men.
Yeah.
Like, but now I'm just like, okay. And again, that goes back to thinking, making sure it's something that you work on every day. Because, I'm getting older, so.
Yeah, I was more so I wasn't necessarily talking about singleness in terms of, I was more so talking about communicating. Like, somebody, you're trying to talk to somebody, you're interested in them, and they're not, and becoming unbothered, because that bothers me. I'm not necessarily talking about like singleness, being unbothered with singleness. I'm talking like, I guess that kind of relates to singleness a little bit, but like more so the beginning stages. You're talking to somebody, or when it comes to friends that you have who are not really good communicators, becoming unbothered that that's just the way they are. That's just where they are right now, and how they communicate.
Well, with the friends part, there are some friends. Like, for example, one of my sorority sisters, I hadn't talked to her on the phone in forever. Like, when I say forever, I mean years. But of course, we talk to each other. Like, we might like each other's pictures and stuff like that, say stuff here and there. But when I say I hadn't talked to her forever, like, it had probably been like a year and a half. We talked on the phone for about an hour and a half a couple of days ago, and it was like nothing. And so I think when it comes with friends and communicating, it's about realizing that we're adults.
Yeah. And
some of our friends we may talk to more often than others, but we got things to do, and there was no love lost between she and I, even though we hadn't talked to each other in over a year. But I think for friends, we're busy and we have lives. Now, when it comes to relationships, for me, let me tell y'all something.
Or people you're interested in talking to.
Yeah, or people that I'm interested in talking to. My thing is this.
It's hard for me.
Going back to, knowing what I bring to the table and seeing what these other Charlotte females have to offer.
No, I see
your words. No, I was gonna say raggedy. But see what this. But see what the other females have to offer. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but at the same time, I know she, as in me, she know what she got. And I'm just like, you know what? If that's what you want, then actually, my dude, you not for me. Because, So for me, it's easy for me to be like, oh, okay. Like, when I tell you I went through my phone the other day, unfollow. But you know what? You still looking at my Instagram stories, boo. All of y'all. Okay? Listen, I'm just saying. You still look at my Instagram stories, but no, bye.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's easy to just cut that off. It's easy to just not be bothered. I guess you know yourself, you're confident in yourself, you know what you bring to the table.
Because I'm just like, all right, and then you know why? Because they always come back. But then you come back on some raggedy stuff.
I was watching somebody was saying that they always come back. Like, no one knew about people, girls, whatever. They always come back. But
if you know you're a good catch and you're a good woman or a good man, then they're always gonna circle back, because people like that, they get bored and they be like, dang, you know what? Maybe I should have given him a chance. Maybe I should have given her a chance. But what's gonna happen is y'all gonna try to text me, I'm gonna be married.
Alright, so last question. I want to talk about ghosting. So something that you had brought up. Talk to me about, one, why do you feel like people ghost? Kind of the psychological part of it, maybe, and then the emotions that you feel. And I kind of discussed mine as well.
So I feel like, from a female perspective, I feel like, and I'm using myself personally because I don't care. I feel like the reason why dudes ghost me is because I don't want to have sex with them. Like, I feel like social media has crippled us to the point where, okay, going back to the DMs, we exchange DMs where, you know what I'm saying, write each other funny stuff, and then we might switch, you know what I'm saying, exchange numbers. And then it's either one or two things. Either after they done got comfortable, because we've been DMing, then it's either you come over my place or I come over your place, or y'all might go out on a date and then they think they're going to try to hop on. No, let me tell you something over here, that's not how it works. Like, and I think for the simple fact that, you know, I'm not trying to give up the goods, that's why dudes be ghosting me. Like, I can call bull so quick, and I'll just be like, yeah. You can call me stuck up, you can call me mean, I don't care, because what I'm not about to do is be out here in these streets spread like 915, okay? You get that on the ride home. But my thing is, like, that's why I feel like I get ghosted, because, again, general statement, men only want to treat you, like, they only respond to you in the way that you allow them to treat you. And because I'm not letting you, you know, have me be a little hoochie out here, then that's why I get ghosted. And that's fine. You know, somebody gonna be willing to wait for all of this.
But then it's emotions that you feel when you got ghosted.
Now, the emotions when I feel when I get ghosted, like, I be sad, because I be like, dang, he was fine, but why he gotta be a mess though? Like, and I be feeling, I'm like, okay, so is it because of this? Is it because of that? You know, so I do question myself, and like, most definitely. But at the same time, after a while, I realized, you know what? That's all he wanted anyway. I bring more than that to the table because I know who I am as a person. So I'm just like, you know what? It's cool. You can ghost me because, again, you watching my Instagram stories, even after I done followed you and deleted your number, you still watching my stories, boo.
I'm gonna make that again. Like, I think with me, and we kind of talked about it in DMs, I think one of the reasons why I get ghosted is because I'm a nice guy. Is that they get scared of, man, you're too nice. There gotta be something wrong with you. There's nothing. And what?
Because dudes who are buttholes, they've been normalized. So when you do get a very random guy who's actually nice, it's kind of like, because our guards are up because we're so used to being treated like crap. So I think that's probably what the issue is, honestly. Yeah.
And like the emotions I get behind that goes back to what I was saying about like being unbothered when somebody doesn't text back. It's like the same type of emotions that I get ghosted when somebody ghosts me who's I'm interested in, or somebody that I'm just friends with, whatever. It's just like I immediately start to question their identity. So I think me, like, up in this upcoming year and then this past year is just really just addressing that identity and being like, yo, I am that dude. I want to say something else, put some other word for dude. But I am that dude. Okay. I am, you know what I'm saying? I am who I am, and really just bringing that into the friendships and the relationships that I have. So.
Because you got to know what you bring to the table. And I mean, that's how I was with in my last relationship. And that's why one of the realizations I came to, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, you know, I might have this one flaw, but hello, like, come on now. And that's when I came to that realization, like, I'm that, you know, whatever. That's why I was just like, I had an exit interview. I was like, we got to meet up. Exit interview. Yep, I got a whole list of why I want to be with you. That way we clear. Ain't that way, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got, that way you don't have to question nothing. You gonna know why. Yeah. Okay?
So any, you hungry? So any last words, any last thoughts when it comes to effective communication that you want people to know about?
I think that social media, again, has crippled us to be effective communicators because everybody just wants to communicate through the phone. Nobody wants to sit down and have true conversations, especially conversations of context. And yes, I admit on social media, I be clowning all the time, but you know, you will learn more about a person if you actually sit down and have a conversation with them, but nobody wants to do that anymore. People want to sit down, they want to talk about other people, they want to talk about, you know, what's on the shade room. Nobody wants to have true conversations. Yeah, and so I feel that just being an effective communicator is a lost art nowadays because everybody's just all about the show. Yeah. You know, so, but for me, I like talking. So that's why whenever I find someone, male or female, that actually wants to have a true conversation, I'm like, hey, we can be friends. So, yeah.
All right, so let the people know your social media.
Everything. So, okay, on Instagram, you can find me It's ZK_fit08. So Z is zebra, K is in kite, _fits08, the number 08. Where I'm on there, working out. You'll see my dog. I post a little bit about my PhD. And then also you can find me actually behaving myself on Twitter at Future Dr. ZK. So Future DRZK. And I'm talking about all things academia and all things mental health on Twitter. And so...
Definitely, I'll definitely bring it back from mental health talk because definitely we're talking about January.
Woo.
So,
yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, it's no problem.